We'll go ahead and get started, and as others join, we can certainly share the recording following this, but I know everyone is busy with their time. I want to begin by first saying good morning and letting you know that we miss you terribly, wish that you were here. The halls are empty and we miss the kids. So thank you for taking some time out this morning so we can talk about our plans and what we're hoping to do. As everyone knows, this situation is ever changing, and it seems like every day we make a decision and then we go, okay, wait, we have more information, let's review. So first, let me begin by thanking you for your commitment and your dedication to your children. We are honored to be partnered with you on this academic journey. Your child's education is one of our priorities, as we know it is yours. And we know that there are many things to consider and options, and thank you for trusting us and partnering with us. So many of the previous webinars this summer have focused on the safety practices and procedures, monitoring where Walker is collecting information. So we will not be covering that this morning because you've heard that multiple times, we know. I know really the pressing piece is how will it look for the children in the New Avenues program? Earlier this morning, Trish was able to cover how it will look in the lower school overall, the logistics, the practices, everything that will be implemented in the division. And we will follow all of those too, but there are a few things that are a little different because, as we know, our children learn differently. That's why they're in New Avenues, and we want to make sure we can continue to honor what our children need, both educationally and emotionally. So I'm going to address the areas that are unique to New Avenues. So this time I'm going to work to share a slide. Let's hope I do this well. All right. And all right, I believe everyone can see that. All right, so we're going to talk about things specific to New Avenues. All right, first for a moment, let me just review very briefly, because I know we've just covered all of this, that we are on a color-coded system. Green is the lowest risk, red is the highest risk. Orange and yellow, quite honestly, is probably where we'll spend most of our time this year as we work to mitigate this virus. And we'll begin with talking a lot about how it will be in orange and also how that changes a little bit for yellow because they're very similar, just the number of groupings. I think the important thing to remember in all of this, as we've made decisions and gone forward here, is that we've collected a lot of information. Recently, the American Association of Pediatrics published a report highlighting the importance of face-to-face education for elementary children. We know that this is even more important for our students in New Avenues. You know, their learning differences make learning harder. That's why they're here. With this in mind, we want you to know that Walker's health and safety team is continuously monitoring the data and working to implement mitigation strategies and measures in an effort so we can keep all kids on campus as much as possible. All right, so hold on here. Let me go to our next slide. All right, this is an example. Oh, too far, sorry. Oh, we've gone crazy here. Okay, this is an example of what a schedule will look like in New Avenues, a possible one. Again, it depends on your child, which grade they're in. But if you can see, as you can see, we will arrive in school just as everyone else will. The children will go to their classrooms, and we will have morning meetings. Generally, the morning meetings will take place within the New Avenues classroom. If we get to a point where we can mix the groups more, we will certainly join other peer groups for our morning meetings. But at this point in time, we have to prioritize the health of everyone over the integration. Then we will continue into our structured literacy blocks and our co-curriculars and classes. The structured literacy block is absolutely one of the foundational parts of the New Avenues program, and that is certainly not going to change. All right, so as you can see, the first, second, and third graders will continue to have their hour and 20-minute block. The fourth and fifth graders will continue to have their hour-and-a-half block. That structured literacy block, just to review for a moment, the importance to it and why they do spend so much time in it, is where their phonological awareness, their Orton-Gillingham, the comprehension instruction, all of those pieces that are essential. The children are grouped by need. That will continue to happen. It will be determined based on what we know about their profile as well as their pre-assessment. Those groups will max at 6 and will be, again, based on their needs. So your children will continue to be with a group that is similar to their needs. Oops, wait a minute. All right. Now, the other piece that's important to know is, 1 second, is that we are looking at ways to have peer integration. As we explained, or as we discussed, that is more limited in this time period because the, I'm sorry, we missed a slide here. Hold on. Forgive me. All right. Let's go. Please forgive me. All right, we're just going to go back there. All right. Also know that the math instruction will take place in those sections that say co-curricular or class. The children will receive their math instruction still within the New Avenues classrooms, just as before. So in many ways, it will not seem any different to the children as in the past. However, that opportunity to be in the larger group is what is changing for all children at Walker in the lower school. As we discussed this morning, the other classes will also be in smaller groups of 9 students with 1 teacher or fewer, just as New Avenues. One of the important things that the CDC and the World Health Organization have shared is that, particularly with young children, the keeping groups distant is also important and limiting the amount of time groups cross over. Thus, that is where our challenge comes in, that we are not going to be able to mix with our peers as much as we had originally hoped. It's important to know we're working on it. We're constantly monitoring the CDC guidelines, the World Health guidelines. But as you can see here, if we're in red, that is as in the spring, that would be remote learning, morning meetings, co-curriculars, that would all be just as it was before. In orange, which is where we primarily anticipate starting the year, but that decision will be made later this month. The children, if health conditions allow and we're allowed to be outside, will be able to be with other children during recess, PE, and possibly lunch. Of course, with social distancing and other mitigation strategies as the masks and different things require. However, that again is something that we will be monitoring because that would require mixing groups, and that is something that we have to monitor closely. If we go into yellow, that will allow us to join for recess and PE, and if class sizes and space allows, some of the co-curriculars and the morning meetings. The challenges come in that in order to keep these groups from mixing, co-curriculars will be coming to the classrooms. That again makes spaces smaller, and we really have worked to manage and balance the needs of academics and health. In green, we will be very similar to in the previous year and as we established the program, just with masks and distance in place, but we will be able to mix in more. So I think it's key to realize that while we know that this is one of our unique qualities and really one of the pieces that we enjoy the most about the New Avenues program here at Walker, sometimes health risks and guidelines are going to require us to limit our amount of integration and mixing. We will continue to mix, though, with our reading groups. So those know that if you have a child who is in this group and say in 2nd grade and they really read and have the same needs as a child in the 3rd grade New Avenues class, that grouping will be allowed to happen still, because those groups stay the same every day. It's a small mix. It does not hit the mitigation strategies. It doesn't go against them, is what I'm trying to say. So that will still continue to happen. Important, I'm sure, a question that you all have is if we go into the red scenario, what would that look like this year? As you know, we worked last year to improve each week as we went through because we jumped into the fire and did our best. As we've had a chance to review things, increase teacher professional development and different opportunities, you can see that we have a plan of having our structured literacy groups. They will meet synchronous 4 times a week if we are required to go out to red. And the students will still have their Lexia. That will be part of what they will do. They do Lexia when they're on campus as well. So that allows for that continuity. Math lessons will be synchronous multiple times a week with a schedule. As Trish mentioned this morning, we'll have a schedule that gets set from the beginning. We are also adding on a support program called Dreambox. It's very similar to Lexia, but this will again allow some more math opportunities if we are required to go into the red scenario, and the students will be able to use it here on campus. Language arts class, there will be synchronous and asynchronous offered each week. Additionally, as a New Avenue student, we know the importance of that individual attention. You know, we need to know how a child is doing, correct errors when needed, and that. So there's also will be at least 1 individual meeting a week for a child if we go out on red. That individual meeting will take place with a member of the New Avenues team. So an example of that would be that if a child meets regularly with our speech and language pathologist, she may be the person who holds the individual meeting with your child to ensure that that continues on. Our speech and language pathologist will continue in all scenarios to support and work with the classes. We will continue that collaborative model where they push in, she pushes in, she meets with the teachers, they meet the needs of that class and plan forward. Because that too is a key part of our New Avenues program. So know that even when we discussed, I'll slide back to that one just for a moment for you. When we discussed that the children won't be able to integrate as much with their peers, this will not change their experience. They will still participate in our robust co-curriculars. They'll continue to study science topics, learn about artists, master technology, develop their physical fitness. All of that will continue because we definitely value and know the importance of the whole child process and integration and growth period. So that's key. It just will look a little different. That's the part where the day might look different for the children this year. However, they will still receive those experiences. Another area we've received several questions about is student technology. So if we have to move to red, students will need to have access to a laptop and headphones. If this is something, we know that not all children have laptops at home, and understandably so. So we are more than happy and able to loan out Chromebooks to check out, because it is helpful. It sends a message to the children that you're doing school if you're on a laptop versus on an iPad. So please know that that's there. We'll be sending out kind of a survey to prepare if we would have to go into red to see who would want something checked out. We also found in the spring that children that had headphones with a microphone benefited because that helped to block out some of the outside noise. You know, it is not easy to find a quiet place to work in a home, and that was very beneficial for many children. So, you know, we encourage families to think about that as we look at what is ahead for us. If your child is sick, or you are sick, or for some reason you're uncomfortable with them coming to school, know that core instruction will be live streamed. So we will continue to support and work with the children, and we will set up with each family, you know, the times for that live streaming to happen. That is something that would happen on an individual basis as we see who needs that. So moving forward, because again, most of the information was shared this morning in the morning webinar with Trish about the children wearing masks. They will wear masks in their reading groups. However, we will have the shields available for the teacher and the students, so that, you know, we know that that instruction is best when you can see someone's mouth. It's very important to see how a shh sound is made. The teachers will have the shields available, and we will have them for the students to support that. You know, when they're moving between classes, everyone will have their mask back on and different pieces, because that provides the highest level of protection. So moving forward, we will have our pre-assessment as we've had in the past. You will be getting an invite for Sign Up Genius by the end of the week. It has been spread out for 3 days over August 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The times have been set up so that we will really only have 2 children in the building at a time, because again, to be able to keep people apart as long as possible. The blocks are 1 hour. During that time, we will also hold the parent share meeting. So the first 40 minutes, the classroom teacher will meet with the child and do those pre-assessments that we have done in the past. The last 20 minutes of that hour, the parents will be able to check in and meet with the classroom teacher to have the parent share meeting. This is a unique opportunity to New Avenues, as the other parent share meetings will be held via Zoom. However, since we have the students coming to campus, we felt we could maximize our time with the parents and provide you that same opportunity, but also a chance to come in and really have a face-to-face with masks and distance meeting with the teacher. So when you're signing up for that, know that part of the time you will be coming in the building to meet with the teacher. We will also, the New Avenues teachers will be reaching out in the next couple of weeks to just set up an early class Zoom meeting. We have new children joining each class, and we feel like this will be a great way for the children to meet the other the other students, and really start to get a feel, since we haven't been able to have our normal new family buddy programs and other opportunities which we would have in the past. And we certainly want all children to feel comfortable. As Trish mentioned this morning, for families where the children have not had an opportunity to walk in with the school, I know several of you, we did screening processes and meetings after we went to distance learning. I'll be reaching out, and we can set up a time for the child to come on campus and have an individual tour without everyone else present, so they can see the surroundings and start to envision themselves here and feel comfortable. We also, the parent-led meetings, you know, Mr. VZ and I are working with the WSA to set up those Zoom meetings with parents. So again, our new families can become part of the Walker community, because that's a key factor here, although it's definitely a unique scenario this year. And parent involvement, there will be opportunities, as Trish mentioned this morning, you know, there'll be opportunities to become a mystery reader. There will be, you can sit in on the morning announcements, maybe opportunities to become a guest expert. You know, if you have a passion, a hobby, or something, we're looking for ways to let the parents step in and be a part of the class. So look for those types of opportunities. The teachers will be sending those out once the year gets underway. So it's been a little bit more brief than this morning because obviously most of the logistics and details of moving one way through the hall and such were covered in the morning. Our focus this morning was really to let you know that we've continued to prioritize our literacy instruction and that multisensory instruction in our rooms, and how we're going to continue to meet the children's needs, only it will just look slightly different on our way, how we can integrate with other classes. Also know that as the year goes on, we are looking at ways that we can virtually connect classes, even if they're next door, with each other. That is actually how we've been having meetings this summer, and we'll continue to have teacher meetings. Distance is best, so people are Zooming even though we're in the same building. And we'll be looking for those opportunities with grade levels to do. So at this time, I will take some questions as soon as I can see where they are. Okay, there are none there. All right, hold on one second.
Cindy, you just have one. Do you want me to read it to you?
That would be fabulous.
All right. Lindsay from Georgia would like to know, what will lunch look like?
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. I totally forgot to mention that. Lunch will be brought to the classrooms for the children to eat in the classrooms. We are looking for as many opportunities as possible to get the children outside. One of the things we're going to ask everyone to bring is a beach towel. So basically they can sit on that. If a teacher wants to go outside and have a class, they can do that. That being said, when the opportunities allow us, weather and health conditions, we would like for our children to be able to go outside at the same time as their grade level peers and have lunch. And again, sitting 6 feet apart, making sure they're distant, but at least starting to see some of the other children. Yes. Are there any others, Trey?
That is your only question.
All right. I'm sure as we go forward, you will have more questions. Know that I'm always just an email away, or feel free to call school. I will let you know that next week I will be available more virtually than in person, as I'm moving my daughter to college across the country. Yikes. So just know that it may take me a little bit more time to return your call, but we are looking forward to getting the children here. We've heard amazing, I've heard amazing feedback about so many of the children doing work this summer, meeting with tutors and work. I know everyone is just anxious to get back on campus and get to see each other, and we are also anxious for that. All right, well, if we don't have any other questions, I know that it's been a busy morning for you all, as this is your second webinar of the morning. So hopefully this has helped you with some things, but again, as you process and you have more questions, I'm always here. So thank you again for your time and your trust, and we are looking forward to being back with everyone. Have a great day.